Woke up this morning, saw the other YouTubers were riffing on the War Thunder boats. So I decided, hey, I could take a stab at it, get some views. Hey. I also have many issues with the gameplay of the boat combat or whatever. Like, first off, the boats themselves aren't very fun. The slow ones are too slow. By the time you get to the battle, it's halfway over, you're like surrounded. And the fast ones, they take far too much damage to be like effective. You run out there, you fire your torpedoes, you die, and then you do it again 3 times because you only get 3 lives, and then you fly a bomber around that has 1 bomb and you can't reload, at least in the most recent one. And like the moderate sized ones, the ones with good firepower yet nice speed, they're the best. The Project 1124, whatever it's called, that's probably my favorite boat so far. It looks silly, it's fast, it has okay armor, has good guns, really middle of the road. But what also is annoying is the gameplay in between each boat hardly changes. Torpedo boats are fast and they take lots of damage, so you launch your torpedoes and shoot at the components and then take lots of damage, and they have to go and reload your torpedoes and not be as effective as the next run. Also, what I found with torpedoes is a lot of times that by the time I know I'll get a good hit on a boat, it's either a lucky shot or the boat has taken already so much damage that I might as well just kill it with my guns. The gunboats, I think, are probably the most effective, yet they've nerfed them recently because their cannons would kill the other boats too fast. They can't get shit because of the waves. The guns are just pointing all over the place. And a lot of them, some of them, are far too slow to be like interactive or reactive to enemy gameplay. And then there would be the weird in-betweens, like the gunboats with torpedoes. Yeah, there isn't really, that's about it. There's fast torpedo boats and not as fast gunboats. And there's really slow gunboats. And besides that, it's rather the same. And I know the amount of classes and whatnot is limited, but what else do you have to work with? People have been speculating, the US, all they have that would fit this game mode are PT boats and maybe some early destroyers. So you're going to have to find every model of every PT boat that they ever made and try to shove it into one texture, and it's still like not enough. I don't know, I need to check my facts on that one. This game mode only really supplements the Russians. Like, if you haven't noticed, Japan, known primarily for its navy, hasn't been in the last like 4 or 5 tests. I don't remember. I think they've been in 1 test, maybe 2. 1, and they're known for their navy. I don't know, that part is just disappointing. But what's also disappointing is the general gameplay of it. They wanted to be realistic, and so that's the reason why they didn't go with large ships. It's because large ships would be too hard to model, and they didn't want to take the easy way out like War Gaming did with the health bars. So instead, they added 3 health bars. Like, it boggles my mind on how they thought this was a good idea, especially the way they work. Because it's not like there's an overall boat health bar or whatever. Like, if you shoot the front of a boat with 2 88mm HE shells, the boat will still be coming towards you. If you shoot it 6 times, let's say a total of 12 shells, high explosive 88mm shells, in the same section of the boat, it won't damage the rest of the boat, like hardly at all. The boat won't be in good health, but it'll still be able to shoot you with its torpedoes. It's absurd how much damage the already damaged section of these boats can do. Maybe they have some plan to fix this, but as of yet, it hasn't seemed to be addressed. They never tell us what they're planning or not planning to do. I swear, they're just like paranoid that war gaming agents are spying them, like it's the Cold War or something. That ended like in the 80s, man. There are a lot of other like odd bugs that they haven't even talked about addressing soon or acknowledged at all. A lot of them are actually just kind of hard to explain. Maybe they're not bugs. Maybe I should go try to make notes about them. I don't know. The torpedoes, they don't go where the little lines are telling them to go. They have this weird like motion of swerving, trying to redirect themselves, but still, like, I've seen them go into islands even though I specifically said not to go into that island. What I think is the most absurd is that the guns, the little green circles saying that was where your gun's gonna shoot, they're not accurate at all. Well, sorta. It's more of your gun's gonna fire in this general area. You can't use them to snipe. They're unreliable. And they go everywhere. Like, sometimes, I swear, they're just flying all over the screen for no good reason. It's really annoying when you're like actually trying to do anything. Also, a lot of the maps are pretty awful. I think the worst is the English Shore one. I don't know, they had this great idea of, hey, everyone hates our small maps. Let's make another small map for the boats, because then people will love it. The first 2 they had, like African Gulf and some other one. They were alright, but they seemed really like thrown together. The newest one, the Pacific one, I forgot what it's called. It's probably the best, although I haven't played on it enough. It does well with splitting up the map, making it feel like it's much bigger than it actually is. Also, most of the time we play a zone capturing system, which is like one of the most lazy ways to make a game function. There's no like actual objectives, it's just capture the magic circle. I've always criticized capturing the magic circle because it's just dumb. There are millions of other things you could do besides capture the magic circle. Other games have made things that aren't just capture the magic circle. And it's not like these game modes are copywritten or whatever. Why is there no like at least other non-realistic game modes, like maybe capture the flag or King of the Hill, or I don't know. Why don't they just copy like the assault mode from Battlefield? People love that mode, and I guarantee you it's the same demographic that plays Battlefield that plays War Thunder, if not very similar. People who like war stuff tend to go with the other war stuff. Other creators had made videos similar to this, and that's what's inspired me to make my own. The Fly's video, he kind of touched on the same subject I did. His solution was to scrap the whole thing and either make modern tanks, because the modern tank mode people like much more than this, or start working on battleships or whatever. That could fix it, could not, I don't know. Mike Goes Boom made a video on this subject, and his solution, he was keeping more with the PT boats, but he was suggesting more unrealistic changes to make the game fun, which while fun is the most necessary element in a game's success, it doesn't really match the rest of the theme of War Thunder, of trying to be realistic. Like, he suggested adding smoke, but I don't think half these ships even had any smoke system. He also wanted the GIMP airplanes to only torpedoes, which, just take them out. Just take them out. You might as well. I'll tell you this, bombs are not what boats should be afraid of. It's rockets. The one time they allowed rockets in, I think it was only once. They allowed rockets into a ship test. It was the Russian rockets, I forgot what they're called. It was one of the early planes, and it destroyed, the rockets one-shot the little boats. And these were the beginning small boats, but they're also beginning small rockets. I've tested the rockets out on some custom maps, and they're pretty deadly. I've one-shot the largest of some of the largest ships in the game. They're not ships, boats. I think it's a ship. The MZ-1, yeah. Bombs are an issue, but not as big as rockets, because especially with the recent patch that made them much more accurate and much more deadly. How I think it should be fixed or whatever, I'm a bit more on Fly's side. I think I personally would like battleships because battleships are cool. That's just a personal taste though. Would it work? I don't know. It might just be that we have to throw boats into the memory hole because people are much more interested in helicopters and modern tanks. The reason why I don't know if ships would work is not that they're slow and all the other criticisms that Gaijin put out, which were rather inaccurate. Like, some of the ships we have in game, or some of the boats we have in game, are actually slower than the average speed of the largest battleships. And they even have slower startup times or whatever. I don't know. That's someone else's argument to be made. What I'm concerned about is how they calculate damage in the game. As it is right now, it's just 3 health bars. If they had large ships, would they change it to just 3 large health bars? The gameplay, I think, would be rather similar, except for you would have probably better accuracy because the waves wouldn't affect the ships less, and the ships would be cool. Not to say that the PT boats aren't cool. They're cool in their own respect, but ships are just cooler. Sorry. It's also possible you don't even need to go to Yamato-sized battleships scale. There are destroyers and other large vessels that could indeed work. It's just, I don't know. Gaijin has this weird idea, like, some people have been using the idea that large ships won't work because they destroy tanks. And we want to have all 3 vehicles in the same match, which would be cool. But the issue is that tanks would destroy these boats. And if you don't think so, think about the Sherman 105. It's about 3.3, 3.0, I don't remember. It fires very large HE shells and heat shells, and it'll have the advantage of being very stable and accurate. Like, it's not going to be wobbling around. It also has armor, very good front armor for its tier. I know some people hate the Shermans, oh, it's not good armor. The Shermans are good, man. Shermans are good. So this Sherman will be able to just sit there and lob shells at these boats that are going to be wobbling around. Like I've said, they're not accurate at all. The waves just completely destroy them. If you want to test this out your own, go get in the one reserve U.S. float tank and just try to shoot straight. It's ridiculously hard and annoying. I've done it. A little practice, you can get used to it. And see, pretty sure that gun has a stabilizer, and not a very good one. It's like the shoulder mount weak stabilizer. But even then, still, it's really wobbly. But the tanks, they don't have to deal with that. So they'll just destroy these boats like the airplanes do, because they can accurately fire large caliber HE shells. So what are we gonna do? Like, what can be done? I'm kind of on the side with Fly. Just scrap the whole thing. Imagine if they never bothered with this venture and never made the boats or whatever, and instead they put all that money and effort into making an Italian tech tree. We would have it by now, probably. They wouldn't have to invent new maps and new vehicles. Probably have the very beginnings of an Italian tech tree with still having the Japanese tanks, and the French tanks would be closer, or whatever. I guarantee you there's more hype for Italian tech tree than there are for PT boats. Some people really like the PT boats, and I get you. There's a cool aspect to them, and I don't want to scrap. I don't like the idea of scrapping them entirely if they do continue onward with this venture. But I don't think it's gonna really bring in anyone new. What other game do you know of that focuses around PT boats? It's PT 109 Knights of the Sea or whatever. Yeah, that's not an award-winning classic that everyone remembers. It's the game didn't sell super well. It's not top of the charts. You're not tapping into any secret fan base. PT boats are a subsection of naval conflict. I don't know. Those are essentially my thoughts on the War Thunder naval forces in its current state. I would like to get Gaijin's views and thoughts on this feedback. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. I'm gonna make a news video tomorrow. Good night. Good luck.